Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Vic Akers Wonderland and the Transfer Zone. Joined, as always, Adam. How are you?
I'm very well, Matt. It's been a while, hasn't it? For the pair of us, we've had a nice long summer holiday. Enjoyed some Olympic action, but whilst the football's been happening, the transfer market has been a hive of activity. So looking forward to pick over what Arsenal have gained and lost over the summer.
It is an interesting one, and there's been lots of news over the past couple of weeks as well. So we won't dive into that as we usually do. We just want to focus on the transfers. But one thing that does, I just want to pick your thoughts with, just quickly, because of the Olympics. Do you think that with that happening alongside the women, the women's football and things like that, a lot of that has been a bit of a cause of concern with some of the injuries that have happened?
I think we are reaching a point where the women's football at the Olympics needs to be its current form needs to be questioned. We know that the men's side is treated more as a youth tournament with a bit of sprinkling of senior players, whereas obviously on the women's side it's treated as a full-blown tournament similar to that of the Euros and the World Cup. It might be that needs to be looked at. But at the same time, we are dealing with quite exceptional circumstances because we're still trying to get through the fixture pile-up because of the COVID pandemic, the way that everything's sort of been compressed together. You know, this is third, fourth, I've lost count of how many summers they've now had with tournaments in a row, and they've still got the Euros to follow next year. But yeah, watching some of those knockout games especially, it was a bit grim at times. So maybe we're in a position now where we can think, you know what, we could maybe tweak the format, but that's probably a question for another time.
Yes, although we should also say the team is currently over on a US pre-season tour, so best luck for the girls for that. But I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, again, this is one of the problems that I had when we talked about it earlier down the line, especially with the Australia game, was that it's a fixture pile up, and sooner or later something's going to break, and most likely it's going to be a muscle or something. We've seen a couple of times, or unfortunately the dreaded three letters. But
well, we were all a bit scared, weren't we, when Emily Fox limped off, and thankfully she was all right in the end. But it just reminds us all that there is, as you know, those three letters that hang over the game, and just as constantly. So here's hoping that the players that didn't go to the Olympics, and thankfully for Arsenal, quite a few didn't. We should say congratulations to Emily Fox for bringing home gold for the US. So it's a gold medal for Emily Fox, and commiserations to our Spanish contingent who weren't so lucky. Yeah, we've got some exciting players to talk about, some of which did play at the Olympics, for those who've been keeping watch. So looking forward to tucking in.
I think the best thing to do would be to go and talk about our outgoings. So unfortunately, we have to talk about the big one, which is Vivianne Miedema going to City. We have done this in the past where we've talked about her. If you want to go back, there is that video that out there on our YouTube channel or Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. She's now gone to Man City. It's a big blow. I think for a lot of us, just because we were expecting her to go abroad somewhere, try and find a new league, try and get that tempo back. But she's decided she's going to stay in WSL. She is also doing her coaching license as well at the moment. So that's probably one of the reasons why, additionally, she's decided to stay in WSL, Adam.
Yes, so this was a bit of a blow when we all found out she wasn't going to be staying, and Twitter, as it always is, was a storm, a hive of. I think when you don't know, and there's a lot of unknowns around this, lack of information, you do try to fill in the gaps. You do try to think why this has happened, and that can take you down some very sort of dark corridors. And we saw some of the rumours and slander, and there was a lot of anger, and I get that. There was a lot of anger about the fact that this wasn't happening because she is much loved, and rightly so. But the simple fact is that she didn't want to stay, and that's simply because of, well, she did a podcast, I think, with Sam Lewis, I think it was,
Yes.
it's a really, really good interview, and it's really interesting to hear that basically her mind was made up at the turn of the year that she didn't think she could stay at Arsenal anymore. And I think it's very easy or quick to maybe. We saw Beth Mees and how she recovered from her ACL, and it was near perfect. And the same could not be said for Miedemar. And I think it took a toll on her, sort of mentally as well, and physically with all the setbacks. I think we saw from an Arsenal perspective that they were playing in a way that didn't complement Viv's style. You can question whether that is the right or wrong direction, but that is just the way we're playing at the moment. And this, for me, felt like the natural conclusion to a 7-year partnership with Viv. To be fair, she had her eye on leaving 2 years ago. She chose to stay. In retrospect, would it have been better if she went to Barcelona, because then she wouldn't have had we wouldn't have to deal with her going to a rival. But it's the situation we have now. She's gone to Man City. Man City have signed one of the best strikers ever to play in the WSL. It's a heck of an acquisition. If Manchester City can integrate her and she can find that form and fitness, when you think that she's going to be lining up potentially with Bunny Shaw, that's a really potent potential partnership you got there, a really scary prospect. I don't think she was ever going to go abroad. I think she was always had her eyes staying with them. She's quite settled like in London, obviously looking off the pitch. She obviously her partnership as well. So the idea of going abroad would probably compromise that. So I think she's happy to stay in England. She's quite settled. Manchester is either going to be, if you look at, she wants to be going to a club that's going to compete for a WSL. If it's not going to be Arsenal, it's another club that's going to compete for the WSL title. And the two clubs at the moment are Chelsea and Manchester City. I think we're all grateful she hasn't gone to Chelsea, because I think if you imagine the uproar after leaving Arsenal, I imagine it even more if she was lining up in the blue of Chelsea. But she's chosen Manchester City. Wish her all the best. We've just now got the unfortunate thing is that our first WSL game of the season is at home to Manchester City. There's a lot of discourse online over how she will be welcomed back. Talks of pantomime boos or applauds. I can understand the line both ways, and there've been some unfortunate comparisons to previous Arsenal players on the men's side who have made the move to rival clubs. My response to that is those sort of players were often leaving for monetary reasons, or criticising sort of the club's lack of ambition. In this instance, it's different. It wasn't like we wanted them to stay. We let the player go, which is not the same. People are welcome to react how they want. I will react in my own way. I'm very respectful of the time Viv has spent with us, and I wish all the best at Manchester City. I just hope she doesn't score against us at Emirates Stadium, personally. But we did a whole podcast on this, but it's finally over. The story's ended. She's at Manchester City. She's taken miles with her, sorry, which I think was a bit of a disappointment on the announcement pictures. And she obviously got a big announcement video with the team. So let's hope we can see, hopefully not at our expense, but we can see the amazing Viv we had for those few years at Arsenal, because when she's on fire, she's unbelievable.
It is a shame that it's happened, but it's one of those that you look at and go, you look back at the time of the club and go, yeah, she's given some really good memories. I think we've all had some really special memories of her. On to our cheerleader, Kaylin Marquise. She has gone back over to the USA with Tampa Bay Sun FC. That is, I believe, below the US WSL. So an interesting one, because she obviously done her ACL. She was in recovery, had to come back from Bristol City to do the recovery, and her contract came to an end. This one, at the same time, we were looking at a second goalkeeper. Kaylin Marquise came in, and another player that ended up leaving in the end took her spot. It was just Kaylin Marquise. I think we have mentioned her again previously. She's left, but Kaylin Marquise, Adam.
Yeah, it was obviously a strange one, but she was one of 3 signings we made in that summer 2022 window. One of probably the worst transfer windows we've ever had. No offense, but when we needed a mass influx of players, because we lost quite a few players in that window. Yes, we had kept Viv that window, but we needed a real step up in quality. We'll get to one of the other signings that was made that window. It didn't really. A lot of them didn't really work. Now the Kalen one was interesting because it was a stopgap signing, because we wanted to sign Sabs and we couldn't get Sabs until the winter window. So Kalen sort of filled the void as the substitute goalkeeper, because we'd also lost that summer. We'd lost Lydia Williams, obviously, which left obviously Mo alone in goal. So Kalen came in to sort of cover that secondary goalkeeper slot. She'd been playing at, I think it was Kerr at the time, played against us in the Champions League, saved the Nikita Paris penalty, if you remember. And I've got a lot of respect for Kaylin, because she knew her role in the team. She wasn't going to be starting the WSL matches. She was the cup keeper, played in the Champions League against FC Zurich. She played in the, I think, in FA Cup games as well. I think she did. Once Sabs came in, she didn't have a role in the team anymore. And I think it's credit to Sabs that she did, not Sabs, credit to Kaylin that she, as you say, cheerleader, working in the community, making such a good connection with the fans. I will mention time again that amazing video they did as part of the Wolfsburg advertising, the A to Z. Just, she really embraced being at Arsenal, even if she wasn't on the pitch. She embraced the fan culture. She embraced the community culture. She did a lot of stuff behind the scenes on that front. Obviously, it's really sad what happened to her with the ACL. We've sent her on to Bristol City. That didn't work out. I believe her recovery is now being sort of covered by her new club, Tampa Bay Sun. So I hope she can get back in goalkeeping soon. It was, a player that was never going to break into the first team, but was a good servant for the club during their time here, and a lot of respect for her for that.
Going on to the next signing, which was the next player out the door, another fan favourite for so many reasons, really. Sabrina D'Angelo. She's now gone to Villa, so we will see her in the WSL this season. I'm looking forward to it, because Sabrina was a really good player, a goalkeeper. She pushed Manu very far, to be honest, and it felt like it was very natural for her to go, right, okay, I'll try my best here. I'm not going to take Manu out of that number one spot. It's someone else's turn, and she's seen there's a spot at Villa, so she's decided to go there.
This was a signing that we signed Kaylin for because we wanted to get Sabs, and Sabs had qualities that Manu was lacking at the time, and so it's sort of the other side of the coin, the sort of yin and yang. And she came in. We'll talk about her game against Manchester City in the cup and also in the league, which did all right. And I thought this was going to be a classic case of two number ones vying for the shirt. You could play off each other, learn from each other's strengths, and clear their weaknesses, etc. And this season just gone, unfortunately, Sabs lost that battle. And for me, the writing was on the wall when we went away to Manchester United. And she missed that clearance, and Leah Galton ran past and tapped it into empty net. And after that, I think she only played one or two. I think she played the home game against Manchester United, when again she looked ropey.
I think in those first couple of minutes, and then between the goal and I'm trying to. I think it was both of them nearly giving a goal away.
And then obviously the goal right at the end that we conceded, I think it was Garcia, and that came from her misjudging the flight of the ball. I think she got given the last game of the season, or last few games of the season as well. I mean, great charm, much loved by the fans. I wish it had worked, but Manu, as she always does, wins. She defeated Pera McGinn. She defeated Lydia Williams. She's now defeated Sabs. She's now, Manu's the one that's had the contract extension. She's staying at the club for a bit longer. Sabs is off to Villa. I think that's a really good signing for Aston Villa, considering about a player they've recently lost, which we will talk about in a bit. But I think it's a very savvy signing by Villa. Already got WSL experience, Canadian international experience. I think she'll do very well at Villa. I think that is absolutely the right level for her. And many thanks for giving us a season and a half in the end, I believe it was. And unfortunately, we've lost a classic chant in the stand, which is always a bit of a shame.
I will always remember when I had a chat with Sabrina about what it takes to be a classic great goalkeeper, and that was just to keep practicing and doing the best that we can. And she is a fantastic goalkeeper, and I do wish her the best of luck as well. I think we all do. I think all the fans do as well. There's no hard feelings there.
No. This again, we talk about. I know there's a lot of anger about this, but I felt like with Sabs, this was the logical conclusion to her time at Arsenal. She'd given us some good moments, and now I think this is the next logical step for her. And I think she's going to absolutely knock it out of the park at Aston Villa. I think she's due. The fans will take to her very, very quickly.
I think they have already, to be honest. I think they've got that chant nailed down, haven't they? Speaking of Canadians, and Chloe Lacasse has now gone, so that means that's not another favourite chant as well that's gone. Chloe Lacasse she has gone over to Utah Royals. There was a fee this time agreed for this. There are personal reasons because she wants to be closer to family as well. She wants to make sure that she stays in the international team, and she wasn't sure she was able to do it at other club.
Yeah, so this was a bit of an interesting one because the whole Lacasse signing came about because of the Beth Mead injury with the ACL. We wanted to sign her in January. That signing collapsed. She was a bit of an unknown until she played for Benfica in the Champions League and caught a lot of people's eyes. And she looked like the perfect analogue to fill the Beth Mead role in the team while Beth Mead was on the treatment table. Now, the problem is the time we should have signed her was in February, end of January, sorry, and then obviously bring her in February when the attack was. If you remember, we drawn 1-1 at home to Chelsea, drew 0-0 away at West Ham. The attack was really struggling, trying to find itself again after losing two of our key forwards. That's when we should have signed Lacasse, and we didn't. If you remember that window, I think we were in for about four strikers in the end. I think there was rumours of Dabina, Lacasse, the Russo bid, and I think right at the end, Sinja Brun didn't sign any of them. So that's sort of where we were at the moment. And by the time we did sign Lacasse in the summer, the moment has sort of passed because Beth Mead came into the team, and I mentioned it earlier. Her recovery from the ACL has been nothing short of miraculous, and it kind of nudged Lacasse back out of the team again. We'll always love her for her goal against Manchester United at LSV, that late equaliser. It was a cracking goal. Unfortunately, I kind of think that was sort of her peak at Arsenal. I think she only got about, 2 more league goals and 2 more other goals in the Conti Cup. And just as the season sort of progressed, just she started some games because Ford fell out the side, but wasn't able to provide that same sort of contribution to the team, which is a real shame. Again, much loved player. Definitely won chant of the season. The 24 chant, obviously it was a riff on the Bukayo Saka chant, but it was a nice analog. I will always love those scenes at the celebration of the Conti Cup final, them playing Voulez-Vous and the players singing around Lacasse, who looked incredibly awkward in the celebrations. But a much loved moment. But yeah, she said she wants to be playing first team football. I think she's she's a senior player. She's not, a young up and coming. She's a senior player. She's now broken into the Canadian first team, scored at the Olympics, we should say as well. So congratulations there. She wants to play first team football, and unfortunately, the way the team is set up at the moment, the right flank's covered by Beth Mead. She's pretty much going to start every game. The left flank's a bit more up for debate. We're going to talk maybe about a new player that's coming that might take that role. So it's a shame, but we're going to make we're going to sell her for profit by the sounds of things. She's gone to Utah Royals, I believe it is.
Yes.
And I think she'll do very well there. It is a shame. I wanted her to do well. I mean, we talked about when we did our end of season review, and I said this was a signing I don't think hit the heights it maybe wanted to. I was really excited about the signing, and I'm really disappointed how it just didn't happen. And I think it says a lot. I've said before that the biggest, I fear, and I don't think it's fair, but I fear that the biggest contribution was the chart that she had, the 24 chart, because it's so amazing. I just wish we could have seen the equivalent on the pitch. I wanted to get 10 goals, loads of assists. It just didn't happen, sadly. But thank you very much, Takas. It was great having you on board, and wish you all the best in the is it NWSL league she's in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wish her all the best because she's a very talented player. Just sadly that the moment misaligned with when we needed her, and that's just how it goes sometimes.
Well, just on Chloe, she had some great memory moments, and you mentioned already Man United. For me, I think Man United at home, where she does the celebration with the "I can't hear you" sort of thing. I really love that. And the quote after that game, I think I always mention this whenever we talk about it, but she just I'm paraphrasing it, but it said, "I just got my big fat noggin on it, and it went in."
Yes, well, that's one when we got a Katie Zellum assist, wasn't it? From to clear it. No, she was honestly, there's a talent there. It's like I said, it's just timing. It's just the timing was wrong for all parties. But it's a shame that we've lost our Manchester United ace player, because it's nice when you've got a player that's really, like Beth Mead against Chelsea. It's nice when you've got that one player that's really good against certain opposition, and certainly she became a bit of a bogey player for Manchester United. Yeah, just the one season, sadly, but I don't think she'll be forgotten anytime soon. Thankfully, she will treasure those moments, as few as they were, and wish her all the best.
On to another player. Again, this player was really exciting coming through. Went out on loan to Everton. She was then recalled. She was a bit injury prone at the time, and then she only played a couple of games. Then it was decided that she was going to go on loan for the rest of the season, the last season, sorry. Then deals were collapsing left, right, and centre. She goes out on loan to Madrid CFF in January, and now she is signed for Atletico Madrid. So we will see her in the Champions League qualifiers at Boringwood.
Yeah.
Again, this is one player that I was really looking forward to. Again, every player's a risk, isn't it? And unfortunately, it didn't work out for Gio. But you kind of feel that if she's going to stay in Europe, she's going to stay in Spain, because she knows that league quite well. She managed, I believe it was 8-9 goals in her during her time. Sorry, no, it wasn't. It was 5 goals in the 10 appearances that she had.
Yeah, if you wanted to look in the dictionary for the definition, or in the in football managing for dummies, and look in the inscription for how not to manage a player, there'll be a picture of Gio. This has been, let's be frank, it's been nothing short of a shambles from all parties. How the Gio as a player has been managed since she came at Arsenal. Some of that is circumstantial. Some of that, I believe, is down to the club. And I will say, when I say the club, I will say the club, the people, obviously the manager, and those above the manager running the club as well. And also on the player side as well. It's been an absolute shambles. And the problem is it becomes political as well, because she did an interview, I think, with Spanish media on her loan about her experiences at Arsenal, and it doesn't paint the club in a good light. Now, this was a signing that I mentioned earlier, that summer 2022 window when we signed Kayla Marquez. We also signed, is it Marquez or Marquise? I can never remember which way around it is.
Yeah, Kayla Marquise.
Marquise, tomato. We signed Gio on loan as well, and immediately loaned her out to Everton. Now, the problem we have with Gio is that she actually came to us injured, so it was a while before we saw her play, even at Everton. I think you were lucky enough to see her a bit.
Yeah, I saw her against Villa, and I think that was about November time.
Yeah,
but she did actually score in the Conti Cup against Tottenham. So
she did, and so she's already a hero for Arsenal. Problem is we had the ACL crisis, and we needed players. And I mentioned earlier, we tried to sign 4 forwards, didn't sign any of them. And I can understand when you lose both Beth Mead and Vivian Miedemar to ACL injuries, klaxons do off, crisis mode, you start making rash calls, You start thinking, crikey, we need reinforcements, we need players in, we need to supplement our attack. We've got a striker out on loan, bring her back into the team. I think that was in retrospect, yeah, hindsight's wonderful. It was probably the wrong call, but I can understand why the call was made at the time. She also had the I'm supposed to describe this, but it's like her stocks rose by not playing because nobody had seen her play really because of the injuries at Everton. But we knew she came from Barcelona, and we knew our attack was failing. Everyone was like, "Oh, Gio's the answer. We need to play Gio. She's a young attacking player. She'll pep up our attack because it's struggling. Lena Hurtig's struggling for fitness and form. Stina was going through a rough patch. Let's get Gio in the side. Let's bring her back. And it's like that's not how football works. But because we hadn't seen her do anything bad, or seen her play at all, her stocks rose without her, demonstrating why she should be in a team. Then, of course, she was never picked. Then she was never picked for the Champions League squad. I think she came off the bench a few times that season, and she was basically just used as a player to rotate. She was not used as I'm going to play Gio tactically. It's a player off the bench I can use. I think she came off the bench away at Manchester United when Leia did her ACL as well, and then had the ignominy of being a sub that was then subbed. It didn't work, unfortunately. And then we had the chaos the next season of, we'll put her back on loan again. The loan deals collapsed. She wasn't picked for the WSL squad. Again, I think there is blame on all parties here. Eventually, she went out on loan, went to Madrid, and did rather well. And now she's gone to Atletico Madrid, different Madrid. Wish her all the best. Unfortunately, it's a talent. I'm sure there is a talent there. We just never saw it. There again, many reasons why we didn't get to see it. I put blame on all parties on that one. And it's not often you get. I'll put down transfers as a mistake. This one was, sadly. So yeah, we can only apologise on that one. That was a duff, and hopefully she can find a career, get a career back up and running again at Atletico Madrid. Although not in the Champions League. If she prefer it, if she could save her career reboot until after the Champions League qualifiers, that'd be very much appreciated.
It's going to be a very interesting game. Should, shall we say, both Arsenal and Atletico Madrid gets to that final at Bournemouth?
Yeah.
Because it's very much ifs and buts at this moment in time.
Mm-hmm.
From one ACL injury to one that just came back in the summer, I thought, oh, this is great. We're going to have Taylor back for this summer. And then she did her other one, didn't she? So
yes. So yes, well,
just a real shame, really, that happened. There's a lot of hype around Taya Goldie, really. From the lockdown series of games, Taya Goldie was one of the standout players. She's going to go out on loan to London City Lionesses. It's actually just been confirmed she's going to get the number 5 shirt this season. She was previously at Watford in the Championship. I was a bit surprised that she was going to go to another Championship team. I would have thought, you know what, test it out, try and go to Palace, WSL team that need that WSL sort of experience. Taya's been sitting and watching the girls quite a lot last season. Sorry, I'm getting my mind's by a lot. But yep, Taya Goldie to London City Lioness. I think this is something that will work out for all parties.
I'm really excited about this. I actually got the fortune of meeting Taya Goldie just before the Liverpool game. She was just after she had her second ACL. As you say, we had the ACL crisis of the 4 ACL. Well, it's a classic case of like she was the 5th ACL. Just no one sort of knew about her because she hadn't broken into the team. We had the other 4. We had the Viv, the Beth, the Leia, and Laura. But we also had Taya Goldie, who'd been there as well. And just as she got over her one, did it again, lost the next season. So you're saying when she's at Watford, a lot of hype around her, a lot of promise. She should have broken into the team by now. She hasn't. I've been hearing things saying that she's like the next Leah Williamson, which is high praise. And she needs game time. And I don't think she's going to quite get it this season. And I think London City Lionesses is a really, really smart move. We know that they've gone to a new ownership, and it's a club with real ambition in breaking into the top. I think they signed a Swedish international. The name escapes me, but there was a big Aslani. Exactly. Yeah. So
this happened last season as well with London City Lionesses. They went and brought a load of WSL talent, put them in the squad, but it all sort of fell off a cliff. So
they're under the management. Yeah, so under the managership, I think it was Remy. Is it Remy Allen? I believe it is now.
Yes. Remy Allen's now going to be Southampton manager.
Oh, so they were. Now she's at Southampton. Yeah, she's taken over from Marianne Spacey Cow, hasn't she?
Yes.
The London City Lionesses. We played them in the Conti Cup last season. Another really good away trip. And there were a few familiar names on the team sheet. I was like, there's, I think, Dan Carter's there now. Emma Candy's there. And I can't remember who the goalkeeper was, but that was another name that was like a familiar. I remember seeing that one. And yeah, she's gone there as well. I think that's London City Lioness is a team that should be challenging for the championship. It should be looking to get into the WSL. That's obviously the ambition of the owner, Michelle Kang, I think it is.
Yes.
Who also owns a lot of other WSL clubs. And I think Tara Goldie is in a really good place to really push on, because I think, no offence to Watford, as we know where they were in the table. We saw them in the FA Cup. That's obviously where Michelle Adjumang was last season. Did they get relegated in the end?
They did, yes. And there's now 2 spots of relegation to up into the championship. So instead of having that playoff, if you win your region, north and south, you go straight up. So which has happened to Newcastle this season, and I can't remember the other team at the top on there.
Yeah. Well, last season, Michelle was basically one of the best players. Did Casey Reed go there as well?
Yes, Casey Reed, Leah Harbour, and
Michelle
Adjumang. Yes, Michelle.
Yeah.
As well.
So obviously the Watford was chosen because it's local to Arsenal. The training centres are literally next to each other. And that's a loadship of convenience rather than really of development. I think Tara Goldie will gain a lot from being at London City Lionesses. I'm really excited to see how she does. We'll hopefully see her in the Conti Cup. Hopefully the London City Lionesses get through some of the group stages, and she gets to play, because I think she'll play some really competitive games in a team that's going to be very competitive. So best of luck, Tara Goldie. Hope it goes well for you there, and I hope we get to see you season after in the red and white of Arsenal. So fingers crossed on that one.
Just quickly, Emma Saunders. I said her name already wrong. Emma Sanders has come out with a tweet earlier on today. Jonas has told journalists that they are looking at loan moves for some of the young players. Others will be part of the squad. One of the ones was about Katrine Cole, whether or not Katrine will stay or go, whether it's out on loan. Katrine Cole will be part of the squad, and
yes,
they are only looking to buy players that are right for them as part of the club. So, interesting piece of information.
Very, very interesting. I think we could probably guess some of the youngsters. Obviously, no evidence, but if we were to wildly speculate youngsters that might go on loan, I'm thinking Vivian Leah. I'm thinking Katie Reed, Michelle Adjumang. Talented players. I saw Vivian Leah in the London City Lionesses game and thought there's a gem in there. We saw a lot of these youngsters in the Australian postseason friendly. I think we can all agree they played rather well. So I think some smart, properly managed loan signings, not the nonsense we had with Gio. So Everton, we know that there is obviously Gio went. Katrine went. Well, Gio did go to Everton, but Molecule went to Everton. I think they did rather well there and got a lot of games because of the injury crisis Everton had. So that could be a nice sweet spot. Plenty of WSL clubs in sort of the lower half of the table, or championship clubs looking to push high up to get into that top, into the WSL clubs like Charlton, for example. Charlton Athletic could be a good one. Maybe Birmingham. Bristol City, they're looking to come straight back up again. That could be another great place to send some of our talent. So I'm really excited to see that the youngsters are going to get proper game time at clubs that hopefully will be competitive. But interesting that Katrine is looking to stay at the club. She only had a few minutes last season, then spent the second half at Everton. I thought she'd go out on loan. One could maybe speculate Palova's injury with her ACL. Maybe that's opening up a gap in the midfield for Katrine to move in. And maybe she can then use. Palova used last season to really kickstart her Arsenal career. Maybe this season's one where Katrine really stakes her place in the midfield, because we know there's a talent there. We've seen it, albeit in League Cup games. You know, she got quite a lot of games in her first half season when we had all those players out and we needed numbers. You know, she was playing Champions League games against likes of Wolfsburg by the end of it, which is ridiculous for a player of her age. So, watch this one with interest. See how she's utilised, especially if we get through to the group stage of the Champions League. Fingers crossed.
I think what will happen is we'll see how these players perform in the US tour, and that will probably give us a little bit of an understanding of where the team is, what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks once they come back. They've also got a game against Southampton at St Mary's again for pre-season friendly. I think that's towards the end of the month as well. So that's going to be a one to be of interest as well, because anything can happen. That's about 2 weeks away. So we'll go into the players in, and the first player through the door is a new number 8. And that is, well, she'll take the number 8, shall I say. And that's Mariona Caldente, formerly of Barcelona. Adam, you've seen her play so many times when you've gone to the Champions League finals. Just to bring up some of the numbers, she was as she was part of the Olympic squad. She played all 6 games, scored 1 goal. She got 1 assist in Liga F last season. She played 28 matches, 10 goals, 9 assists. She's a player that plays left wing, but she can also play as the attacking midfielder. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen there.
There was speculation about where she'd play in the team. There was a school of thought where she'd play at the 10. I would disagree with that sentiment. For those of you who follow the pod will know that we did an interview with Unati Naidu from DAZN, who, if anyone knows Unati, knows she quite likes Barcelona. And Caldente is a player that she loved a lot and was able to give us quite a lot of insight on. And the general consensus was her best position's on the left. I don't think people realise just what a talent we've got on our hands. Now, there is a question over the age profile. She's been great for Barcelona for, I think, like 10 years or so. She's been there for quite a while. A key cog in that Barcelona winning machine. That I was over in Bilbao for the Champions League final. She set up the goal there. She played in the Champions League final the previous season against Wolfsburg, also against Chelsea as well. World Cup winner, obviously, with Spain. Very, very talented player. I don't know how many years we'll get out of her at Arsenal, because the fear is that you're getting the player at the crest rather than just before, if you see, or when she's sort of plateauing. You don't want to think of a male team equivalent if you think like a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. We got him at his peak, and then he deteriorated when he was in our hands. But at this moment, very talented player. I think she's going to surprise a lot of people who maybe with Barcelona think of Bonmati and Alexia Putellas. They are the ones that win the Ballon d'Ors and get a lot of attention, a lot of plaudits. But Caldente is up there, I would say. So we've got a real talent, and I think she'll play on that left wing. That raises a lot of intrigue, because obviously Ford has been the main player to play that left wing. I think we can all agree didn't have the best of seasons. Lena Hurtig is back again. She's like a new signing. She's back in training, so she's going to want to play either on the left, or maybe she'll be the right as cover for Beth. But being versatile is useful. As you mentioned, she could potentially play in that 10 role as well. I think there's another player we've just signed who may take that role instead. We'll get to in a bit. I'm very excited to see how Caldente will play at Arsenal. We saw in the Olympics, scored in the Olympics as well. Scored that lovely bit which he cut through into the box and tucked the ball away. I think it was in Spain's opening game. Watch this space with interest. I think I don't think people realise just what talent we got on left, and she could be really crucial, especially against those low blocks, because we all know we're a bit of a blunt force at time against deep, packed defences. We just lack that bit of imagination, just that bit of magic and chaos. Caldente might be that player. So very exciting. We got that one done nice and early on a free, which is quite incredible, really, from Barcelona. So yeah, very excited about Caldente.
I'll talk about tactics when we get down to the last signing. But Daphne von Domstelaar from Aston Villa, goalkeeper, free. Basically a swap, well, they're not calling them swap deals, are they? But it's essentially that is what it is. One player going the other way for Sabrina.
So it wasn't a free. So it wasn't a free.
Sorry,
it
not
was
not a fee. She sorry, I put fee. I put fee down so to remind me that she had that essentially she had a clause in the contract that if Villa finished in the lower ranks of the league table, there would be a release clause available. Arsenal triggered that. Daphne's come in. New number 14 is taken Sabrina's shirt. 14 games in the WS. So, I'll just quickly go. 14 games in the WSL, 31 goals against. For the Netherlands in the it just says 2025. When I did have a look, this is FBref for those that are interested. 1 game, 1 clean sheet. So I'm not too sure what that's about. I'm sure she's played more than 1 game for the Netherlands this year.
But I'm very excited about this one. So DVD, as I will call her, even though I know it's annoying quite a lot of people because we had a DVD play for us once upon a time, who has since left. So she broke into, I think, was it burst onto the scene, as the kids say?
Yeah.
She broke into the public international setup during the Euro 2022, and I was there. It was at Bramall Lane, Netherlands versus Sweden, and Sarah van Veenendaal, legendary Arsenal keeper. I'd long since left Arsenal by then, but was a WSL winning keeper. Injured herself. Got into, I can't remember the exact circumstances, but she was injured, had to be subbed off. Was actually the end of her entire career. Actually, she retired from football sadly afterwards. Daphne came off the bench as the number 2 and basically made the number 1 shot, the goalkeeper shot her own. Had some really, really good performances. I remember there was a game against Switzerland.
So that game, I love that game. It was so end to end, and it was really good to watch. And just on watching her, you could see sort of in that Portugal, because we were both at the Portugal game as well. Actually, funny enough.
Oh, were we? Okay, yeah. I didn't know you were at the Portugal game, but yeah.
No, this is the one we met at. It was the one against Switzerland. You probably didn't know I was there. But anyway, I digress. She stood out as a really good goalkeeper. You could see that there was sort of still areas where she needed to improve. But a lot of Arsenal fans were saying we need to go for her, and then there was come and get me plea to Man City. She didn't go to Man City. She went to Villa instead, and now she's at Arsenal. So Arsenal fans finally got their wish.
It's rare that you do get the player that you're crying out for. I mean, the other one was Russo. A lot of Arsenal players saying we should sign Russo, and much later than we'd hoped, we signed her. I was going to say the Switzerland game, there was a really crucial save she made at about 1-1, like really good save. And then later on, obviously, Leah Velti got subbed off for injury, and Switzerland collapsed because obviously Leah Velti's gone off injured, and everyone's won. And then their quarterfinal against France. I mean, France, it's never gone to extra time because France battered them, and the only reason they got to extra time was because Daphne kept them in the game with some really, really good saves. I went over to the Netherlands. England played over there in a Nations League game. Again, Daphne kept England out in the second half when they were really trying to build up pressure to chase the winner, and then obviously the Netherlands won it at the death. A very, very talented, a very high potential talented keeper, exciting keeper. As you say, played at Aston Villa. Most of the second half of the season, she was injured, sadly. So they had Leet in goal instead. But she played in the game at Emirates Stadium. I think we can agree that she was probably, use a better word, culpable for the winner. I don't think she dealt with the Russo shot as well as she should have done. However, she's a younger, talented keeper, very raw. And I think she's here to try and take the number 1 shirt off Manu, which, as we discussed earlier, is no easy feat because Manu keeps the shirt. She knocks the other keeper out of the ring. This is the new one coming in. I think I can see it like being like Hannah Hampton, how she came in and then took Anne Katzenberger's shirt at Chelsea and she became a number 1 keeper. DVD's going to look to do the same. She's going to come in and say, no, I want to be that number 1 keeper and I'm going to wrestle that shirt off Manu. So we'll see how she does. I'm very excited by this. I know I think she's quite a popular player at Aston Villa, but yeah, they've got Sabs now, so you can argue a bit of a like-for-like swap. Very intrigued to see how she does. And obviously, we've got these friendlies coming up. Like I said, the US tour. Hopefully, we get to see her play. Just a shame she's got the number 14 shirt. It's not a goalkeeping shirt. Number 14. I'm sorry, it's not for goalkeepers. Please, can we stop this?
It's usually like number 13, but unfortunately, Leah Valti's got it, so there's not
Well,
much you
yeah.
can really do. I'm looking forward to seeing when Daphne does eventually start for Arsenal, whether or not it will be first competitive game, maybe against Rangers. We never know, but I will be interested to see how she's going to handle it as well, because it's a new environment. The ceiling's I would say the ceiling's fairly high at the moment for goalkeepers, especially with some of the fan base are calling out Manu for just simple mistakes that she's making with, especially when she's with Austria.
Yeah, there's a lot of anti-Manu sentiment online, which I try to ignore because a load of it is nonsense and it's usually quite unfair. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see again how she does in this one. We should say, of course, the last time Arsenal had a Dutch goalkeeper, we won the league. So never know.
I think this is going to be an interesting sign. It might be the case of that Daphne is going to be the future Arsenal, and Manu's going to be the present. Might see Manu move on.
It could be that. It'd just be interesting to see if it's a case of Daphne waits for the time to come, or she takes control and makes it her time to come into the team. Yeah, we could have another interesting battle for the number 1 jersey again.
Yeah, we've already mentioned Daphne's going to wear the number 14. The number 16 shirt, which was previously Noel Moritz, has now gone to Russell Rosa Kafai, who was formerly of BK Hacken. We do love a player from BK Hacken. The last one ended up scoring Conti Cup final goals for us.
Yeah, Steamer, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So we BK Hacken was a capital. This is one I think caught everyone by surprise. It happened very quickly. And resolved quite quickly too. There was even a leaked photo of her at Emirates Stadium, which caused a bit of a stir, as these things always do. You can always trust on Arsenal fans to find evidence of transfers before they happen. Like I said, these pictures online, leaks, smoke trails in the sky, airport radar, houses being bought. The detective work is incredible. Yeah, this one was hinted at online and raised a few eyebrows. I wasn't fully aware of this player, but I think when England drew against Sweden, I think she played in that game. And I think there was a moment where Leah Willington almost conceded a penalty, and I think it was with Capucci. I'm really excited by this one. She looks like a real maverick. I've gone through and looked over the her goals in the Champions League last season for Häcken. She scored against Paris FC, home and away against Real Madrid, and against PSG in the quarterfinals. So it's interesting to see what the goals. Bit of variance here. So the Real Madrid, it was a header. Well, away it was a header. At home, it was a really good sort of powerful drive on the edge of the box. Paris FC running onto the ball, smashing it past the keeper. The most interesting one for me, though, was her penalty against PSG in the quarterfinals. Häcken sadly went out, but it all came from a bit of individual magic. She picks the ball in the midfield and dinks the ball over. It's like a Leah Williams sort of long ball, gets it over the defence, and Häcken get a player in behind, causes a bit of chaos. The defence panics, the player goes down. Admittedly, the penalty is saved, but she heads in the rebound, which was great awareness from her. I think this is going to be the 10. We mentioned earlier about Caldente, and I was, maybe she's going to be 10. This looks like a sort of a maverick, chaotic player. I think at times last season we got a bit predictable with our players. I think we were quite sort of. There was a lot of backwards passing, a lot of sideways passing, a lot of playing it safe. I think back to that game away at West Ham, we had likes of Palova, who wouldn't play the risky pass forward. She'd play the safe pass sideways or backwards, and we'd lose our attacking momentum. And we all know how that game panned out. You just need that bit of unpredictability to just destabilize the game. This could be that player. So very excited about this one. it's always, I always find signing attacking players is always the nice ones you want. Sometimes signing defenders can be a bit boring. Everyone wants, we want the talented striker, I want that attacking midfielder, because they're the ones that get you off your seat. We've got a bit of contest in that position because obviously Lotte Mornham has typically played there. Viv was playing there. She's obviously now gone. Russo was experimented there behind Stina. So for me, the key thing is her playing at 10 is obviously settling into the team, but crucially, building that partnership with her forward. One of the things we found a lot was the likes of Frida and Russo didn't really have that synergy that Frida and Stina had. Rose has got to find a position in the team, but also find that synergy with the forward she's going to play off. And hopefully it's a quick snap. She kicks right in and away she goes. If it takes a while, then that's going to impact our season. But I'm excited about this one. Again, we mentioned with Gio, it's the excitement of the unknown. Because we haven't seen her play for Arsenal, we immediately think she's going to be amazing. So hopefully this US tour that's coming up, we can see her in action, hopefully. I should say, by the time this goes out, I think the first game against Washington Spirit, I believe, should have been played. So that'll hopefully give us a bit of an idea of where this team is in terms of fitness and also where these signings are in terms of integration. But I think there's a lot of excitement there. And as you mentioned earlier, there's the potential maybe for more. Plenty, as with all transfer windows, plenty of other players have been linked, have been rumoured. Obviously, nothing's happened with them yet. So we'll keep our eyes and ears open and see what else comes our way.
Just on Rosa Kafai, she's played in Damascus 12 matches this season, 5 goals. For Sweden in the Nations League, 5 matches all off the bench, and that 1 assist against England for that cross into the box.
Rolfo, so, was it Rolfo in the end?
I think it was Rolfo, yes, that did score.
Wembley.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that one. That was a bit of a gut wrencher. Although in fairness, in that game, Sweden deserved a point because in the second half we completely flatlined. In fact, Sweden should have won that game if Stina had topped that.
Yeah, oh my god! We're all sitting there, aren't we? And we're thinking, this is going in. It's going in. And she goes, puts it wide. It was just like, Stina, what are you doing?
Doesn't matter. We've got through the Euros. We're in. We're in Switzerland. It didn't matter in the end. But yeah, that was a grim one. Very excited with the 3 signings we've made as always. Hopefully they settle in. There's a lot of quality and potential in there. But the crucial thing is how they integrate, and B, how they're utilised correctly. And that's going to be down to the club. That's been down to the manager. It's all coming up rather exciting. The new season's coming up soon. Still plenty of time for a few more signings. So let's hope.
It's nice to see that the signings are coming nice and early, and now they've got pre-season together. Actually, as much as I hate to say about the upset, I've sort of slagged off the pre-season tour because it's over in the US and things like that. There's a lot of issues around that. The fact that a lot of them come back quite late, especially with the Nations League and things like that now being the qualifiers for the European Championships and everything else going on. It's just nice to see that we're going to see how this team is at the moment, and hopefully how they're going to develop throughout the season. Until then, I think is there anything that you want to?
No, I think that is the perfect point to end it. That's all our transfers in our zone covered. Obviously, we can talk about some more if more do happen. We'll come back for another pod. But it's been good to catch up and good to get back in the podcast again. It's been, like I said, too long. It's been a while. Lots of stuff has happened. Let's hope Arsenal maybe sneak one more in under the before the window stands shut. Get one more signing in, which would be nice. We'll have to wait and see if anything happens.
Looking forward to that as always. And where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me a few places. You can find me at AdamSalter4 on Twitter/X. You can find me at Adam_Salter4 on Threads. And you can also follow the Arsenal Women Archive on Twitter as well, where we can say all the time we're posting up lots of clips from the past Arsenal games. During the summer break, we've made a huge find of a lot of historical matches dating back as far as 1991. They're going to be coming up over the next year or so. There's some old league games, cup finals, lot of games that many people, well, whole games or clips of games, a lot of people may not have seen. So do keep an eye out for that.
Looking forward to it. And you can follow the podcast at VAW Pod. You can also follow Lottie, who isn't available at the moment, but she is on AWSC _Lottie, Lottie, I think it is. Just you can also follow me at MattLR28. You're going to check, aren't you?
I am going to check, but I think you're right.
I've also recently just joined Threads, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Because I think Threads is really sort of joined up a little bit, so I think we might be looking into that further down the line.
Lottie _AWFC.
See, I got it wrong already. So there we go.
Right.
So
yes,
that's all from us tonight. Wherever you are. Hope you enjoy yourself and the rest of the summer. But for now, goodbye, and don't forget, come on, you Gunners.